Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in less than 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. Today, is it a national emergency like the president says? And there's another hurricane. Plus, teen smoking, the World Series, and Pinocchio. Those stories and many more in less than 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. Today is Tuesday, October 23rd. You ready? Let's do this. President Trump is calling it a national emergency, getting some people fired up about immigration laws in the U.S. and others saying he's using false claims for politics. So here's what's going on. Thousands of Central American migrants are working their way toward the U.S. border. The AP reports the migrant caravan is now estimated to be about 7,000 people, so it's grown a lot since last week. The New York Times calls it by far the largest single group of migrants moving north in decades. But they're still very far from the U.S., at least 1,100 miles left to walk to reach the nearest border crossing, and maybe double that if they take another route. The AP says it's very possible many migrants escaping poverty and violence in places like Guatemala will choose to split off and end up staying in Mexico or going back home. Some already have. Others have ignored the Mexican government's efforts to stop them and continued on. President Trump told USA Today he's ready to send as many troops as necessary to the U.S.-Mexico border to block the migrants whenever they get there. He said there are, quote, criminals and unknown Middle Easterners in the caravan, but there's been no evidence of that. And those involved with the caravan say it's a flat-out lie. Trump also says he'll be cutting off foreign aid to Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, blaming those countries for letting the migrants leave. He also blames Democrats and U.S. immigration laws. Critics say the president is making misleading and false claims about this whole thing and trying to use the caravan as a political tool 2 weeks before the midterm elections. Yes, Election Day is just 2 weeks away now. A recent Wall Street Journal NBC News survey found the highest percentage of voters interested in this election than the survey has seen before, and that's for both Democrats and Republicans. The New York Times lays it out. Democrats need 23 seats in the U.S. House to take the majority. It's a possibility, but no one's sure if it'll happen. As for the U.S. Senate, experts say it's likely Republicans who will keep the majority. Of course, we can't be sure of anything just yet. All week, candidates have been debating live, and already there's early voting happening. I'm putting a link in today's show notes if you want to check the voting info about your state. Well, there's another hurricane. This one is heading to the Pacific coast of Mexico, and it is strong. CNN says Hurricane Willa is a Category 4 storm. It's expected to hit either tonight or early Wednesday. And just like we saw with Hurricane Michael 2 weeks ago, Willa got strong quickly. It was only a tropical storm on Saturday. Now it's on track to become one of the strongest hurricanes to ever hit the Pacific coast of Mexico. South Texas could also see some heavy rain because of it later this week. New data shows more high school kids are smoking conventional cigarettes, as well as e-cigarettes. CNBC cites federal health officials saying data now shows 8.1% of high school students reported smoking regular cigarettes in 2017. That's up from 7.6% in 2016. It's not statistically significant, but it is the first time that number has gone up in 2 decades. So some think vaping has something to do with it. Health officials have called e-cigarette use among teens an epidemic, and they worry that kids get addicted enough with e-cigs that they then move on to the more dangerous kind. Remember, federal health officials are investigating e-cigarette companies worried that they're marketing to minors. The companies say not true. The e-scooter industry is facing a class action lawsuit. 2 of the largest scooter companies, Bird and Lime, are being sued in Los Angeles for alleged negligence. Why? Injuries to scooter riders and people walking nearby. The suit claims the companies just dumped the scooters on public streets without the proper warning or safety instructions. In fact, the Washington Post did recently cite ER doctors taking note of an uptick in scooter injuries. Company spokespeople said things like there's no evidence it's any more dangerous than riding a bike, and safety is important to them. In fact, the company Lime told TechCrunch it's now planning to open physical storefronts in major cities, starting in the LA area. It'll be a place to rent the scooters, throw events, and yes, see demonstrations on safety. One last thing about new types of transportation. Elon Musk said on Twitter that his Boring Company's first ever underground tunnel, the first of its kind, will be complete December 10th, and the public can even go for free rides the next day. Yes, The Verge reports a date is now set to see this 2-mile test tunnel in action. It's more of a proof of concept at this point, but it's meant to take passengers and cars under the LA traffic on self-driving platforms that he calls skates. So stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by Crickstart. Crickstart offers organic snacks like protein bars and protein crackers made with cricket powder. Yes, cricket powder. But you don't actually know the crickets are in there because they're in such a fine powder. It's just a great source of protein without that chalky taste that you typically get with protein bars. And there are 0 refined sugars. That is a hard thing to find with most grab-and-go snacks. The other ingredients are all organic and plant-based, like seed butters, hemp, and dates. These are great, nutritious, tasty snacks for when you're on the run, and yes, they are paleo, keto, or just low-carb friendly. The other thing that's great about Crickstart is that their products are super sustainable, so you can feel good about eating them. There's no waste with crickets, and they require a whole lot less water, feed, and greenhouse gases than meats. So head to crickstart.com and check out the flavors like chili chocolate, lemon lime, and more. Plus, you can get 20% off with promo code Newsworthy. That's crickstart.com and use the coupon code Newsworthy for 20% off. Now, back to the news. All right, tonight it is Game 1 of the 2018 World Series. The LA Dodgers face the Boston Red Sox. It's the first time those two teams have played each other in the World Series since 1916. Two of the names you can expect to hear a lot of, the two star pitchers, Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers and Chris Sale for the Red Sox. It starts tonight at Fenway Park in Boston. It's expected to be a record year at U.S. movie theaters. The Hollywood Reporter says the best ever year could bring in an estimated $12 billion at the box office in 2018. That's up 10% from last year. And for the first time, this year's #1 movie so far, Black Panther, came out in February instead of either the summer or the holidays like they typically do. So audiences are apparently spending money even in the fall and spring. You won't need to go to the theater for this one, though. Netflix has given the green light to an Academy Award-winning director to make a new version of Pinocchio. Variety reports Guillermo del Toro, who won an Oscar for The Shape of Water, is set to make his first animated feature film. He'll write, direct, and produce a stop-motion musical version of Pinocchio. But it's all just getting started now. Production begins this fall. Comedian and actress Amy Schumer got creative to announce she's expecting her first child with husband Chris Fisher. She announced it on Instagram with their faces on the bodies of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who, of course, are also expecting a child. She also got political with the post. She partnered with a journalist for the announcement to encourage people to get out and vote. A quick reminder, tonight is the drawing for the largest jackpot in U.S. lottery history. The Mega Millions prize is now $1.6 billion. Tomorrow is the Powerball drawing for $620 million. The chance of winning both? CNBC says that's at least 1 in 88 quadrillion. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. If you get value out of the Newsworthy, I hope you will tell at least one friend today about the show. And if you want to read more about any of the news stories we talked about, I make it easy for you. You'll find links and more articles in today's show notes. Go to thenewsworthy.com, click episodes, and find today's date. The Newsworthy is ready for you to listen every weekday by 4 in the morning, so I'll be back with much more news tomorrow. Have a great day.